So Psalm 137. Now, there have been many points throughout this epic journey of ours where there have been psalms that we've encountered where really what we could do with is spending a good amount of time just delving into the depths of them. And this is one of those psalms that there's a danger that we just skip over things when there's so much here to be explored. It's one of the most controversial psalms for reasons that will become apparent in the moment, made famous by the Boney M song, By the Rivers of Babylon. But we need to stick to our guns here, and the question that we're asking is, how can we pray Psalm 137? Now, just before we get into this, what you have here is the cry of a people who are removed from their homeland and who are enslaved and oppressed. That's it in a nutshell. Now, putting ourselves in the shoes of this cry is difficult. But to give it some context, I read a commentary by a Jewish rabbi who said this: if you want to begin to understand the pain and the depth of the cry that comes from this psalm, imagine this for a moment. Imagine that you are a Jew during the Second World War, and you've been taken from your homeland and put in a concentration camp, and you've been stripped of absolutely everything. You're watching your loved ones and your people be starved and abused to death. And then one Nazi officer walks up to you and says, "Go on then, sing us one of your Jewish songs." And what you have in Psalm 137 is a song that comes from those kind of depths. By the waters of Babylon, there we sat down and wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows there we hung our lyres, for there our captors required of us songs, and our tormentors mirth, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem, how they said, lay it bare, down to its foundations. O daughter of Babylon, doomed to be destroyed, blessed shall he be who repays you with what you have done to us. Blessed shall he be who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rock. That last verse is awful, isn't it? You kind of feel like, I hope I'll never get to that point in my prayer life. And yet, there is some reason to that line. What the psalmist is crying out is will someone bring an end to these generations who keep on torturing us? May this be the last. So it's, in one sense, it's an awful curse. In another sense, it's a cry, enough is enough. Like, to draw a line under this. And this whole psalm falls within the context of the people still believing that God is a God who gets angry and whose wrath will be poured out and who will bring justice. There is a sense of the God of justice undergirding this whole psalm. And I think we would all want to say, we want and we need that God of justice when we see the injustices around us. But how do we pray this? Well, what this psalm does is give voice to the devastating impact on people's lives of oppressive power. This is what it sounds like when people are abused and are squeezed in hideous ways. And the awful thing is, therefore, this is not a song of history, it's a song of today. We live in a time when thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people's lives cry this. So here's what I want to invite you to do. I want you to read the psalm again and then go online and Google the names of those nations where people are oppressed and cry with them. Intercede for them, beg for God's justice and mercy to be poured out into their lives. Countries like North Korea, Israel, even Russia, Saudi Arabia, countries where people are oppressed. Let us join with them and cry. Have a read and have a pray. God bless.